First of all, my goodness, I am just so delighted to be with all of you, and it just warms my heart, and to know that our USF family is able to not only come together, but also to share what it is that we do, and that is a commitment to help make our world a better place. And so, to me, at our core, this is a university that has embraced its Jesuit Catholic identity, and more importantly, it is indeed extended both through our alumni, through our friends, through our parents, through our in our communities in ways that, as I said, just really shows and demonstrates the power of the collective, recognizing the responsibility that we all have in helping build our communities as well. So I am just truly delighted and really happy to have a conversation. Thank you, Tuan, for leading this. Before I actually turn it over to Tuan, I just want to publicly thank both Christina and Scott for their help bringing us together and for the great work that you do. And as you know, we also happen to have a campus here in Sacramento, and it is a yes. It has continued to serve this community in so many important ways, both in programs in education, in family and marriage therapy, and we have also nursing. So it is truly also embedded in the life of this community as well. And so I am just so happy to be able to welcome our friends from our campus as well. So with that,
Sacramento in the house. Hi, I'm Tuan Lam, and I am so excited to be interviewing Dr. and President Aceves. But before we get started, if you don't mind, something I like to do when I do speaking engagements, I like to take a quick selfie.
Okay.
If you don't mind. Can I borrow your phone? Just to commemorate. It's not real if it's not digital, right? Thank you. All right, so President Aceves, will you? All right, everyone. I think I can smush everybody in. Ready? And go. Smile. Woo! All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. So let's get this party started. It's so nice to chat with everyone here and learn how you literally changed the world from here.
Yep.
These incredible stories here. So we broke today's chat into a few themes. The first one is lay president. For people that don't know what a lay president is, you are the first one in USF's history. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So as you know, I'm going to say probably 5-6 years ago, when you look across our 27 Jesuit institutions across the U.S., I would say just about all, but perhaps 3 or 4 were led by non-Jesuits. And now, if you consider kind of rolling forward, I believe that there are now 3 Jesuits. But I think that the more important part of that story is the fact that I have to credit our Jesuit community for helping prepare lay leaders to be able to step into leadership roles because they could anticipate a world not only with fewer Jesuits in the U.S., and that is a reality, but I think even more importantly, the opportunity to be able to journey with lay leaders within the university as well. And so I've been in Jesuit education now for almost 40 years. And the one thing that I would say is that in addition to my USF education, I could not be more grateful for that invitation that they extended to put me through immersion programs that really helped me understand what Ignatian spirituality was about. Programs that allowed me to understand what does it mean to steward a tradition, a 500-year tradition. What does it mean to lead an institution with a 170-year history that has also allowed our university to both be a force for good, but also a community for important activism and engagement within the city itself, within Northern California, within our state, within the world. And so that opportunity of being a lay leader, I think, elevates in many ways a vision, a dream, a reality of our Jesuit community. And so I invite, as well as I am both a direct beneficiary of, the relationship that we have with our Jesuit brothers and sisters.
Well said. Um, President Aceves, if y'all don't know, is a history maker. Not only the first lay president, but this boggled my mind, the first Latino president. Woo! In the history, and 150 years is it?
170.
170
Yep.
years. Can you just, that is not lost upon you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. No. I could get emotional on that one. Well, I think that when we think about this wonderful nation of ours, and you think of the dreams, you think about what it means in terms of both sacrifice, and I think of my parents when they certainly immigrated to the U.S., recognizing that in many ways I was going to be offered an opportunity that was just unimaginable. And you don't realize in many ways what it is that unfolds in your life. I went through the parochial school system in San Francisco. I was really a great beneficiary of that commitment of educators that really nurtured and saw a potential and believed in me in ways that I myself could not have imagined. And so recognizing that I'm in many ways honoring their dream, their commitment, their sacrifice to be able to both help me continue on in my own journey, but then also to be placed in a system that allowed me to develop and to take those gifts that God gave me to be able to become the gifts that I now use in my presidency. I would also say that that responsibility of welcoming students, I'll give you a glimpse of USF's entering class in 2020, in the fall of 2025. So as we welcomed roughly 1,300 new freshmen to the university, 88 different languages were spoken.
Wow.
Students from every state in our nation, over 100 countries represented.
Wow.
And so what you also see is that, again, that continues to inspire us. And so I met, certainly parents of students that were really first generation. About close to 40% of our students are first generation students. And so to be able to have someone come and see their role at their seat at the table could not be more comforting and just a source and a sense of pride. That is what being a first generation student is about. And that to me is the pathway that we continue to offer all of our students. And to be fair, we also have many students who had a long history, perhaps second, third generation San Franciscans, perhaps second or third generation USF graduates as well. And that also is very exciting because it really talks about the kind of community and the type of state that we are committed to building.
Woo! So, two quick anecdotes. I resonate so deeply with this because I chose to go to USF because of the smaller courses. And what just hit me on the side of the head was that I didn't realize that there would be such an amalgam, a cornucopia of so many different people from all over the world, cultures, religions, sexualities, and whatnot. And we both shared just a moment ago, and we got teary-eyed talking about how we both share that we are both first generation college graduates. Woo! Right? And so to be able to, back in the day at USF, the motto was change hearts and minds from here, and now it's to change the world from here. And that is exactly what we're doing. So how do you carry the Jesuit mission forward on your day-to-day? There's business stuff going on, there's administrations and things, right? But also bringing your own style, your own stamp, the you-ness in what you're doing to give back.
So, first of all, we always talk about how do you live the mission. And I think that for us, it really is important as we talk about stewarding the university's mission. We talk about the way that that mission comes alive and where we are recognizing that higher education is going through a period, I'm going to say, of self-reflection. We are being asked some really important questions around our role, our purpose, our contribution. Where is it that we are indeed a positive force for good as a community? And so from that perspective, I'm going to say that part of what we have to do as a university, again, is coming back to how do we live the mission? The places where mission lives certainly is not our curriculum. It's in the way that indeed we form men and women, both committed to service and be of service to others. That becomes really important, but we also have to bring it to a 2026 reality. I also recognize that we also have to weave the importance of career readiness. We have to talk about that importance of ensuring that our students are able to both graduate, but also graduate ready to immerse themselves into the life of an organization. That could be a nonprofit, that could be a for-profit. Think about all of the different industries as well that are represented as well. And recognize that we are not just preparing them for their first job, we're preparing them for a life. And so that life becomes another important factor. So how can they adapt? How can they adjust? So how do we do that? We do that in a couple of ways. One is we certainly want to make sure that at least all of our students have 2 internships before they graduate. Because we really want to make sure that they're able to test out that opportunity of exploring and being able to know whether or not that is the right fit for them. Where do we ignite kind of passion, and where do we ensure that they're able to discover places where they might be able to follow kind of their heart and their passion? So that's number one. The second thing that we've also done, in addition to their major, is we started to weave, and we have something called the Horizons Initiative. What that means is that we take some important themes such as sustainability, technology and artificial intelligence, ways that we can also talk about ways that a student is able to take complex issues and concerns and incorporate them into the beginnings of tangible solutions, recognizing that this gives them a chance to go out there and work with alumni, work with institutions and organizations that are at the forefront of some of these solutions. How do we weave that into their major? How do we weave them into the way that they are then involved in service learning? All of those are ways that we say we are preparing you for that formative and transformative education, as well as that career readiness as well. That is how we continue to make relevant a Jesuit Catholic education in 2026.
Yeah, we were talking, moving into the second theme is future and direction of the university. And we were talking earlier, Dr. Aceves and I, about AI and putting like the humanness back into, how we navigate the world. And so in terms of internships, when I was at USF, I interned 5 times, and I had people. I became a broadcaster, TV reporter, and I had people. I had friends that sent 150, 200 VHS tapes. I don't know if you guys remember. We were sending beta and VHS tapes, and I interned 5 times, and I sent 12 tapes out. I got 2 offers. So I think that the internship component is huge. Now, looking into your crystal ball, this was not an AI generated question, by the way, you guys. When you look ahead in 10 years, let's talk legacy. What do you want to be known for?
One of the most satisfying conversations that I have is when I talk to alums, when they look back and they say, where did I start and what impact am I having in our communities today? I was just chatting with a couple of alums that were in Singapore. We did a visit, a tour in Southeast Asia. And just for them to come back and say, look, I am making such a positive impact in so many different and unique ways. To me, what I'd like to be able to have the university be remembered is for its graduates, our graduates. When we talk about what is it that we contribute to this world, we contribute a group of highly committed, values-based individuals that are making a difference. And that's what I want to make sure that we're known for. It's not just, I want to hire a nurse. I want to hire a USF nurse. I don't want to just hire a finance major. I want to hire a USF. So what does that mean? I was chatting with a student who's thinking about coming for our new master's in artificial intelligence. And he said, look, I could be a great coder, but one of the things that I also want to be able to do is to talk about the economic impact. Because if I create a code, his passion was in autonomous vehicles. And so we were actually on a project, we had a group of folks from all of the different autonomous vehicle companies coming to USF to have, in essence, an open conversation around the future of this technology. And so the student basically said, he said, look, I can certainly use my skills and my talents to help build that code. He says, but what I'm also concerned about is how do you, in fact, take jobs that are now going to perhaps disappear, and what's the economic impact of that? And it's not a matter of either or, it's a matter of how do you transition that economic impact to a family that might have for generations been in fact focused on that particular job. I think that that's bringing to the forefront the importance of what I consider to be a Jesuit Catholic education. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for folks that are really graduating and coming into a community that is going to be a force for them.
Beautifully said. What are the most important choices then that the university must now take to become strong and distinctive into the future?
Sure. So I think the places that we continue to be committed in terms of both our area of focus and the way that we contribute is really by ensuring that, as I said, our students are able to fully engage into the life of new opportunities and new projects, as well as a new vision. And that vision has to really adapt and adjust based on where these students find themselves. How do they partner with our alums? How do they partner with our partners? How do they partner with our government officials in order to develop and create a type of policy that again serves us? How are we sensitive to those that are perhaps at the margin that are left behind? Those are the places where I think good decision making allows us to be able to elevate and bring to the forefront opportunities that I'm going to say our world sorely needs.
Especially now that with the rapidly changing landscape of education, people always ask me, Tuan, like, what did you get from USF? And you can go to other universities and we can all get a degree. But for me, I was like, it taught me how to be a good person. Just through peers that I met, through teachers. Teachers invited me to lunch and dinners, the whole class to dinners. I mean, it was pretty spectacular. Okay, so the third part is alumni and friends. Really quickly, you guys, how many of you guys are alum? Raise your hands. Woo! Okay, and then, and friends, raise your hands. Woo! Okay, so the next question I have is, how do alumni and friends fit into your vision for USF's future?
Absolutely. So I think first and foremost, the place that I would ask you to help us do is continue to become an important relationship to welcome our graduates into our communities. I think that is so important. You have, in many ways, an opportunity to both invite as well as to contribute to that important first step, whether it's an internship while they're students, whether it's an introduction to your organization because you're passionate, excited about what it could offer, ways that we can continue to create that easy transition from university into the workspace. I think that's first and foremost. But second, how do they become part of this broader group of alums and friends that are now engaged in their own communities to make those communities better and stronger? I think that invitation is such an important part. So when we talked about the 12,000 alums that live in Sacramento, I know that collectively they are having a very, very positive impact. So ensuring that there is that continuity, ensuring that there is that invitation to be able to be welcomed back. And that's such an exciting opportunity. In fact, again, I'm going to come back to I was just talking to a couple of alums, and we had students that went home when we were in Southeast Asia. We went to the Philippines, and the alumni could not have been more open and welcoming of meeting students that were soon going to graduate to say, look, you know what? we need you here. And I want to make sure that you find your way back because your skills, your abilities, your insight, your energy is all going to be is so important and only not only important but also it's captivating. And so that part I felt was really an exciting way for us to be able to make those connections. So I continue to encourage you to play that important and active role so that next time we come together, that it's not just your friends, but also it's our latest graduates as well.
Yeah. And I experienced that the last event that we had in downtown here, Christina. It was the younger crowd, right? There's a bunch of interns that interned here, and we're celebrating them, their internships. And I met up with friends that I've had that went to USF alum and new alum, and we all shared the same thing. We all left with contact numbers of the younger generation, mentoring, right, and giving back. So yes, you can cut a check if you can cut a check, right, or you could put USF in your estate. But the other question, aside from philanthropy,
Yes.
where do you see the greatest opportunity for alumni to engage meaningfully with students in the university?
Yes. So I think that there are so many challenges as well. And I think that there are indeed issues that we are having to work through and live through. And so I would say inviting our students to both be part of what I would hope to be good solutions for some of the challenges of the moment. I think that is really another way that we can certainly engage even students now before they graduate. Just be able to reach out. And I know that our students are continually looking for ways to engage alums because they will grow and they will be able to both understand and I believe get a deeper insight around what those possibilities are. Part of that dream, part of that opportunity to be able to imagine what life is beyond their current moment is really to engage with you. You bring a wealth of experience, you bring a wealth of insight. We also bring an opportunity to share our stories. And part of those stories allow us to be able to see both opportunities that we had thought about, but also to be able to gain the type of confidence that is so important, particularly as you finish your programs. And that applies both to undergraduate as well as our graduate students. So I'm going to say that, to me, I think is something that I not only encourage, but I would invite you to think about because I think that that's a wonderful gift, particularly to those students that are so eager and so interested in not only engaging but re-engaging back into their communities.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about the fast pace of technology and AI and how important it is to have your own style signature, but also how important it is to be in community. So you can change the world from where you're at, but it's so important to also go out there in the world and share your stories.
Right.
So, what would you leave with your closing thoughts? What would you leave alumni, the USF community, and friends? What's one thought that you would like to leave them with on the road ahead?
Absolutely. So I would say the one thing that in the midst of all of our challenges, I remind our community that we have to assist, we have to keep hope alive. I think that is really, really important.
Woo! Yes.
It was the theme of my welcome message, particularly when we kind of held our convocation on campus. But I think more and more as we think about, again, the world and we think about the challenges ahead, I think that hope is something that is so central to not just our day-to-day living, but also as we tackle some of the solutions ahead. And so that for me is what's inspiring. I think that is what our nation's spirituality would ask us to embrace. And I think that's also what is sorely needed to continue to be able to find better pathways to change the world from here.
Thank you so much. Yep. Thank you for this conversation. I have to be honest. I came here and I have a friend living in Iran, and things are getting bombed. You see the news, you see the craziness, and I was like, I really don't know if I want to go out and like talk to people. And then you talk to all of you guys, and to you, I mean, that is hopeful. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for being here.